Hey everyone, it is Sean and Dave here from Saturday Morning Cartoons. We want to thank the following people for going to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Cartoons and supporting our show. So a huge thank you to Derek Haynes,
Dr. Jason Woods,
Jamal Newman,
Melanie Harker,
Allison Keene,
the one and only Sean Paul Ellis,
and the amazing Dave Trumbore.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, it might sound kind of weird that we are thanking some familiar people and ourselves in this list, but we want to let you listeners out there know that we are not just asking you to support us through Patreon. We are actually putting our hard-earned dollars into the show as well. So we just want to say thank you to those who have supported, and for anyone who can't but would like to help out the show in some way, feel free to share our Patreon page within your social media circles. It would really help a lot.
So thank you guys. We appreciate you going to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Cartoons to sponsor and support our podcast. And now, on with the show.
Hello and welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons, the weekly podcast that revisits, reviews, and ridicules some of the world's weirdest animated series. Coming to you from Malibu, I'll be your co-host, Dave Grumbor. Joining as always, straight out of Zoot Rehab, it's Sean Paul Ellis. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, David, buddy. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
You feeling okay over there after all that Zoot?
No, man, I'm losing it. I'm losing it a little bit from this cartoon.
Just from the cartoons, not the Zoot. What would you say is afflicting your sensibilities more, the Zook or the cartoons that we watch?
The cartoon. I have my 90-day clean and sober on Zook chip
Oh, congratulations!
with me right now, so pretty. Thank you. I should probably celebrate by doing more Zook.
No, I would maybe shy away from that. However, after watching this shitty cartoon, we had to bring in somebody else just to help us out here because we cannot handle this insanity by ourselves. So sitting between us, virtually and otherwise, the one, the only Evan Valentine.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome
for this experience.
Hey, welcome
Why
back,
do we
man.
always do this to you?
I don't know.
We really pick on Evan.
Have we done a good one?
No. Were you here for X-Men?
No, I wasn't. No, wait, was I?
You might have been on the phone with us for X-Men.
Yeah, I might have been.
Yeah.
That was good.
Because you did your Apocalypse voice.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Because I would have it no other way.
Yeah, you were here for.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So we got one.
Got one.
You were here for Skeleton Warriors.
That's
correct?
What are you, Sean?
That was your fault.
Or Visionaries.
Yeah, that was.
No,
my
it was
fault,
definitely
but,
Skeleton Warriors.
Okay, Skeleton Warriors, and you were also here for Wildcats.
Sorry.
Wildcats was good. No, I'm kidding. Wildcats. Covert Action Teams.
Go back and listen to that one for that nonsense. But that was another Malibu comic, was it not?
That was
Oh no, that was Wildstorm. Image.
That was an Image.
Image then acquired by DC Comics.
Yeah,
so they're part of the DC universe proper now.
That's right. Whereas the one we're talking about tonight is a Malibu comic, and then they got bought out by Marvel, who subsequently burnt them to the ground.
Yep, nothing to see here. They didn't want anybody remembering characters such as the ones that we see in our episode
talk about tonight. Yeah, but we were gonna drag them back from the brink of hell and. To start things off, Sean's going to give us a history of this particular property.
So tonight we're obviously talking Ultraforce, which is a fictional superhero group that appears in comic books published by Malibu and later Marvel. There was a short-lived Ultraforce animated television series that ran for 13 episodes and was based on the first version of the Ultraforce comic book and was produced by Deke Entertainment and Bobot Entertainment. There was also an Ultraforce action figure line that was produced by Galoob.
Did either of you guys have these action figures?
God, no.
Sean, did you have any?
Definitely not.
I don't even think I know what they look like, honestly. I saw a picture of one of like a newer He-Man next to a Prime. The weird thing was that I guess the action figures were super small for these things.
Oh, okay.
So like He-Man just like towered over the Prime, which makes zero sense.
He-Man was on the Zook.
He was on the Zook, bro. So I don't know what was
Power
going
of
on.
the Zook.
That Eternia Zook. It's a whole nother level.
Oh God. I was aware that this comic existed, and if I go back through my back catalog, I may have one or two issues. And I don't know why. There was a lot of times that like going to comic book stores when I was a kid, the like whatever like package or pickup I would have, every once in a while the guy would be like, "Hey, I threw in like one extra comic," or "Hey, if you're interested, I would also recommend this. Do you want me to throw one or two issues in, to kind of like get you started?" And sometimes I'd be like, maybe not. I definitely feel like Ultraforce was one of those ones that sort of kind of got handed to me free over the counter.
I feel like he handed you an entire like box of them. It was just like, give them to your friends.
Yeah,
Get them the fuck out of my store.
What Sean forgets to mention is that right after the employee gave him an issue of Ultraforce, he said in a really deep voice, "The pact is sealed," and then
It's true. Form the blood pact with Malibu Comics.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know.
You know what's funny? This didn't even have a date. I don't even have a date for this one. I couldn't even tell you when this came out because I did not write a fucking date down.
oh god,
So, I mean, clearly mid to late 90s.
I'm sure this is definitely a product of the '90s. It must
Yeah.
be. When did X-Men premiere?
X-Men was 93, I think.
I'm sure this was 94, 95.
Had to be.
They just shit this out
Yeah.
as something to go along with it, or
It's like the
copy
ink,
from it.
the ink that ran out of the drawings for the X-Men series were collected and just loosely assembled into Ultraforce, I think.
Put it into this shit.
What's even nerve-wracking about this is the fact that we know how much Evan loves comic books, and he just deep sighed, like he was like, I don't even know what the fuck to talk about with this one, guys. Like, I'm at a loss, which is nerve-wracking.
I mean, really, like, and I was, looking at Malibu Comics and Ultraforce in general.
Mhm.
It's a collection of heroes that are literally just taking Marvel and DC characters and smashing them together,
Yep.
and then calling them by a different name.
Yeah, and we'll get into them because you can tell if you had any like kind of comics background or knowledge prior to going into this cartoon, it's 100% obvious who belongs to who in these characters. But we'll get to them once we get to the actual show.
Imagine if Ultraforce was your first
Right.
comic.
It
And
would
then you
probably
thought
be
that
great.
everybody else was aping off them.
If one of our Russian listeners out there got Ultraforce as a first either edition or series that you watch, please let us know. Because again, I feel terrible for you and your childhood. But
We are so sorry.
yeah, that's
We're
a very,
very, very
rare
sorry.
experience. But this was probably fucking like pretty rad show to watch if you knew nothing else.
Sure, I guess.
We'll get to that in a minute. So, if you want to know what the show is actually about, yeah, let's get into it. So, the purpose of Ultraforce, the team, not so much the show or the comics, was to protect the public and keep other Ultras from getting out of line. That sounds like a weird, like a goose stepping security force.
Yeah,
Actually.
it's
Like a bunch of Pinkertons.
There's some rough Pinkertons. The membership consisted of various Ultras, or superheroes, in Malibu's Ultraverse, including the super strong Prime, Topaz, warrior queen of Gwendor, Prototype, Ultratech's armored spokesperson, the Undead Ghoul, the last surviving member of the Exiles, Hardcase, one of the first public Ultras, and the mysterious Contrary, who organized the team and provided their technology. What a terrible fucking name. Contrary.
Oh, it's pretty bad.
Things are about to get worse because we are going to get into the show proper. I think we're going to start off with the theme song, as per usual. So, golly, where do I want to start with this? Evan, give us your thoughts on the theme song.
I mean, for real, if you look at it, the animation is way better than the show, which is kind of like, that's pretty much the deal with all Saturday morning cartoons. They put all the budget into the intro to trick kids into their money and then shit out something else. But yeah, I mean, essentially it apes the X-Men animated series to a ridiculous degree, like to the point where just like in the X-Men animated series intro, they would have the each member's name would flash behind them and like move toward the screen. Same exact thing here with each of the characters being introduced. And the very catchy jingle of Ultraforce being yelled over and over again, just to let you know that it was more extreme than X-Men the animated
it
series.
was definitely more extreme. Ultra to the extreme. Just terrible. All over the place. Sean may have heard something else in the lyrics though. So Sean, buddy, what's your take on the theme song?
I did. So there were a couple of things about this that really surprised me. And I say that with a question mark because I don't know if I was surprised or if I'm just constantly disappointed with how bad this was. For about a dozen times I've watched this today to be like, it's not really that bad, is it? And then I let it kind of seep into my brain for a minute, and I'm just like, oh no, it's still really bad. it starts out with what sounds like somebody in the background going pew 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 pew. And then there's a whole bunch of like weird computer sounds, like somebody had just discovered like a soundboard of like computer mainframe sounds from like the 50s and 60s, and they're just like, just push a bunch of buttons, nobody gives a shit. And then at the beginning we have Ultraforce scream like a constipated person in their 20s, which I think Evan is right. Like, this was something that like they hooked you in with this, because every time I heard Ultraforce, two things. One, you could clearly hear them say Ultraforce, which always made me think of Mortal Kombat, like being screamed in the background. So I was just like, okay, great. And then for some reason, every once in a while, there's like it sounded like, and I know that this is wrong.
This extensively
it sounds like they're saying,
but
it sounds like they are saying punch it, like in the background. It sounds like they're stuttering to say punch it, which is fine. It's just like one of those like really particular things that you're just like, huh, what did they say? And then like a couple seconds later you hear punch it, and you're like, what the fuck does that mean? And so evidently they're actually saying ultra. They're saying like ultra.
It's like they're just like whispering like, oh, sexy.
Ultra.
Ooh, ultra.
It's so
very
uncomfortable.
Because then the dude comes back in and just screams at you again from the toilet. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. At the very end, you get like a proper kind of like, you know, start of a round, like Mortal Kombat, like ready to go. But I will say, I have to echo what Evan said. I do love just the kind of the introduction to all the characters, which is their specific names and kind of some of the things that are about them. Like that type of a roll call, I always appreciate in this, especially for this show, because of just how batshit fucking insane. At some point, it transitions over. We get to see a couple villains.
And they give up on them. They're just like, you don't need to know who these people are.
Villains,
fuck them. They're bad guys.
Which is fine. Which is fine, because like they're all very unique, very distinct. We've got like a demon at some point, kind of giving you like a weird kind of like metal sign, and then sticking his tongue out, and just it's Ozzy as like an actual like demon devil that's flying across the screen. And every once in a while, it's got these like pretty cool like little guitar licks that are going on in the background. But I'll be honest with you, again, a dozen times I could not hum that fucking guitar lick to save my fucking life.
I can scream Ultraforce at you all day. I have no idea what the actual tune is.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, right.
I can say punch it or Ultraforce, either one.
Ultraforce. Again, if you're trying to sell me on getting excited about this, I don't know if I'm excited. I don't know. I have no idea. If as a kid I would be really pumped up and excited.
I don't know if I'm coming or going with this Ultraforce.
Well, pretty much.
8-year-old me.
Let me ask you this for Sean and the kids out there. If you were watching a Saturday morning cartoon, this came on, whatever, and then you just saw a little kid that was about your age whose chest just like erupted in goo and then turned into like this steroid monster freak, how would you feel about that?
I'd be like, why did that kid money shot green gack all over his chest and then turn into like a steroid bodybuilder like in Venice Beach? That would be my biggest concern.
I was more terrified when the camera
and why
panned in super close to Prime's face as he was flying towards the villains.
Oh, and he just like ricked this grin, just like he looked
that
like
90s, just like everything.
He looked like that creepy little man with the grin from Freakazoid. Can't remember his name.
Oh yeah, the guy who could turn beavers into gold.
I don't remember that, but there was like that creepy little dude.
It's real. That happened. I'm not just making it up.
There was that little guy with a neck like that, and he would always just be in like the sides of the.
Oh, what is his name?
Sean, you know, because he freaked you out every time he showed up on the screen. But I can't remember his name. Yeah, he was just like.
Oh God, yeah, anyway, that creepy guy.
Stretched out. So we got that, and then we've got who the hell shows up next? Blue and Yellow Iron Man. We'll get to all these characters in a second. How about when like a zombie wearing his bones on the outside runs out of the grave with like a big smile on his face and just like takes a jog through a cemetery? Like, I can't imagine what my brain would have been like. What would have been happening in my brain watching this intro? Probably the same thing that's happening now, which is just like, why the fuck am I watching?
Why is this happening?
Why is this happening? Who let this happen? Why hasn't anyone stopped?
I need my parents to wake up, and you're hitting on the door to.
I need Kevin and Ruth to wake up. Help me.
Wendy and Drew, get up. Your son needs you.
We have this moment where it looks like what was it? Like Walmart style Starfire comes out with like a giant winged mace and just kind of like swipes it across the screen. And it's just like Topaz. I'm like,
Peridot,
okay.
where's Sapphire? Where's the rest of the birthstones?
Yeah. We've got
my
female Charles Xavier showing up.
She looks like Emma Frost and Professor Xavier
Oh,
crossed
yeah.
over. So just like, here's some boobs for the kids. It's like,
So she must have a really cool name, right, Dave?
Yeah, she's got a great name. Contrary.
She was a combination of Professor X and Emma Frost, and there's nothing else to her. She was in a giant technodrome, kind of
like a smaller
device that would just fly through the air.
I have no idea what's going on in most of this cartoon, even though we've watched 2 episodes of it. I will say though that the theme song is terrible, but it does introduce you to the characters at least.
Sure.
So you have an idea of who these people are before they just throw you in with zero story, origin, background whatsoever. So,
mm-hmm. So you know right off the cuff what you're dealing with.
Yeah, when to turn that channel. So you guys have anything else from the theme song, or do you want to jump to kind of like talk about the animation style a little bit? All right, what'd you think, Sean?
Let's get into this. I like the fact that you can tell, like we didn't know exactly when this was like time date stamped, but we have a general approximation that it's probably early to mid 90s, and that's because there are some really big, bright primary colors that are in here. It's very interesting because it sort of feels like it's a cross between what we've seen that's the contemporaries that we have for that time, which are Wildcats and X-Men. A lot of the similar art style that's there. It just seems that in some cases there's just almost a complete lack of
There's definitely
depth
a complete lack
and
of depth.
shading for
Is
some
that-
I'll give you that.
like they were just yeah. Yeah. Well, we're talking an art style. We're not talking about an actual substance of the specific characters, Dave, but it's completely lacking there too. But yeah, it seems like there are some points where like they'll be in a certain situation and there should be some shadowing or there should be some dimension to show their face and kind of what they're doing in battle. We even saw it like sort of with this first villain that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. Like there's almost nothing to it. It's just like a solid silver aluminum foil Ultron ripoff that looks like a xenomorph fucked Ultron, and you're just like and then had a baby with the thing from robotics, and you're just like, what the hell is this?
Glad to know somebody's finally.
They stole my bit.
Yeah,
I
know. Right?
Oh my god.
Been working on this for 20 years.
You better not be named enemy.
Oh, damn it.
You are going to be really disappointed with this one, then, Dave.
Just in terms of like
what did you guys
animation
think?
Just the
style.
animation style, so like the look, the design, the way that they kind of move, the fight sequences, things like that.
It was serviceable. I mean, it wasn't necessarily they moved. They got done what needed to be done. I didn't necessarily. It got bored.
It functioned.
I was gonna spit take
as a
it, but
cartoon.
damn,
It
dude.
was animated. You had seen it. I mean, really, like, okay, I'll give them points for the fact that they didn't reuse footage like so many other. Like,
True.
Spider-Man animated series was notorious for that shit. And I don't think this was on par with like X-Men the animated series.
They tried to be
in general, but yeah, it wasn't really.
Sean, what were you gonna say?
I'm actually going to take you to task on that, Evan.
there were
a couple
enemy-
scenes
I must have
that they
blacked out.
reused over and over again for animation. There's a shoulder shimmy part where enemy keeps
enemy
moving back and
sequences are
forth
bad.
Oh yeah,
and like doing this thing, and they showed it like 2 or 3 times, and it was every time I saw it, I was
Just
like,
get a
is
loop
he
gif of that.
dancing? What is he? I'm uncomfortable.
Sean, I would like to
I'm
ask.
uncomfortable with.
Sean, I would like to
him,
ask you
shimmy
before we
shaking
get
back
into
and forth.
while we're on the question of enemy, what do you think is the skull? Because Dave and I were talking a lot about what the skull on his neck was and whether or not that was a decoration or if that was like used to be a human being
Like a fucking,
who's now controlling.
like, is it a hood ornament? Is
Yeah,
it a T1000
what did it used
that's
to be
stuck
a
inside?
man that's now?
So to describe this for folks out there who aren't familiar with it, like Sean said, it's a bastard child of a xenomorph, a creature from robotics, or just RoboCop, or what's that thing from XL?
Ed 209.
Ed 209.
It looks like Ed 209 mixed with an
a
alien.
xenomorph, yeah, because it's got like the weird.
And it has the guns for arms. And
yeah, it's got guns for arms.
Yeah.
So like as this thing, but it's kind of like got a mecha suit quality to it, right? Like Ed 209. So as this thing's moving around, its head will move around, and every time its head moves, but its body doesn't, there's a tiny little skull right where his like Adam's apple would be, right in the hollow of his neck. And it's just a skull staring forward, but a skull of like, it looked like it was a chrome skull. So like, I don't know if it was a hood ornament. I don't know if it was an exoskeleton from another robot, or is like the man who's piloting it, because they do show inside like what looks like a cockpit.
Oh, for real? Oh,
but
yeah.
it's just like a bunch of screens.
Oh, that's right.
They never
That's like
show
what enemy's looking at.
Yeah, so like his like predator radar or whatever, like if he'll seek you out, or he'll see, for whatever reason, it's all like X-ray. Like everybody's always just bones coming at him. I have no idea why.
That's weird.
But what do you think that skull is?
I think it's his truck nuts.
You think it's truck nuts? You think it's just like a decoration?
I think it's just decoration. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't think like the amount of thought that we're putting into figuring out that skull is 3 times as much as Malibu Comics put into coming up with.
We'll get to that.
His name is fucking Enemy, Dave. They didn't.
Oh, they put slightly
They
more
gave
thought into
zero
it
thought into this fucking
thing. We'll
thing.
get to that during the plot. God damn it. I think what they did was they were just like, what are all the like great pop culture icons of this moment? So they had like Alien, the Predator, radar and stuff like that.
Ed 209.
RoboCop Ed 209. And then they were just like, let's throw a fucking Terminator head in there too. Just do that.
Chuck them all together.
Put them all and mash them up. Kids love it. It's great. It's going to sell like hotcakes. Kids love hotcakes.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. I have no idea why that was there, but it's an amazing watch to just watch this thing's head turn, and then it's just another smaller head underneath it.
Little skull.
I hope it's a little man. Never explained.
Never explained, I guess.
That's never
but
explained.
I love Enemy because, like Sean, like you said, in a flashback
Never
sequence,
explained.
they show like battle against numerous things, which we'll talk about. But then it's literally the exact same thing once they cut to the main episode. Like his military battle against Enemy is like cut same to same sequence. So, yeah, not great on the animation style.
No.
And there are moments, they have cool moments. Like, I will say this, I do kind of like the character design, kind of. It's definitely derivative. They definitely rip off everything else under the sun. But it's definitely noticeable. And you can't really miss this stuff. It's like giant, bold primary colors flying at your face. You can't miss it. It does grab your attention. And you do know who everybody is.
Every character is very unique.
They're very unique and distinct, and you can tell which parts of each character were stolen from other characters, which makes it really fun. So I'll give them that.
I don't understand how this show just wasn't called Ultra Lawsuit, because
Your Honor,
Copyright
this is clearly
Force? That would've been a
Superman.
better
No,
name.
it's Prime. See, he has a big P on his chest. Oh, Shazam.
Oh, are you serious? Because
Yeah.
I was like, this is kid
It's
this
like
is
Shazam
a
if
shittier
Billy
kid
Batson was a real
Shazam.
asshole.
A
Like-
real dick.
Like a real dick. And he knew it too. Oh God.
But he's got real
So,
Secret
you
of
wanna
the
jump into
Ooze
characters
action
now?
on
'Cause
his
I think we said
chest. You're
pretty
like,
much all we can about animation style. So
yeah, I think we said pretty much everything we can about this nothing art style.
It's there.
It's just a ripoff of X-Men.
Yeah,
actually.
pretty much.
That's the easiest way to put it. Who do you want to talk about first there, bud?
Well, we started talking a little bit about Prime, about Dollar Store Shazam. Yeah. I mean, how many neck muscles does he have? That's my question.
This guy. How many
It's
human beings put together to form
He's
that many
like
muscles
he's
does he
like
have?
Tyrannosaurus Rex in that like all his muscles make it impossible for his arms to move.
His heart should fail immediately. His heart should just fail by the fact that he exists.
Luckily, it's pumped full of liquid flesh.
And-
God, have you gone in the background of this character at all, Sean? Okay, so we've got, if you're not familiar with Shazam
No, I
or Captain
haven't.
Marvel, it's essentially, the idea is there's a kid who has this ability to turn into this like incredibly strong, very adult looking superhero with a cape who flies around and is very Superman-esque, right? In this case, Shazam's a whole nother thing. In Prime's case, it's like Kevin Green,
Oh God.
not
What a
of
terrible name.
not of the Green Bay Packers or the Minnesota Vikings. Or is he?
Ah.
I don't even know. Doesn't matter. Not that Kevin Green. Child Kevin Green. who just kind of sweats green goop and can use that, which they've dubbed liquid flesh, by the way. So he sweats liquid flesh until it like completely envelops his entire body, and then can like mold that into the shape of whatever superhero he deems awesome at the time. So at this point, it's like Shazam, but later on he can become like, there's a Space Prime, there's a Spider Prime, there's a Final Prime, there's like all kinds of stuff that are modeled on different characters. Rip-offs of other characters. Prime Red.
It's just called Prime Wonder Woman. Oh, it's not Wonder Woman. It's Prime Wonder Woman.
Prime Apocalypse.
You can see it.
Yeah. Clearly, Your Honor, you can see. Clearly. I put the word Prime in front of all the additional characters' names.
Boy, and you can change. If you could fucking change into Wonder Woman, would you not do that in your spare time? There's a lot of silence there.
Look in the mirror.
Yeah,
100%. Let's just hang out. Totally cool. I got my liquid flesh out.
By the way, that transformation is horrifying. Terrifying. Because he's going, and it's like he's puking it, and it's wrapping around him.
It's coming out of every orifice, every pore. It's like your worst sweat. It's like your worst like hot yoga session ever. But it's like green jello that's coming out of your pores and turning you into a steroid freak. Not a good look.
Just power. It's just if you've ever been like hanging out with that friend who late at night, if you've been drinking like all day, all evening, and you're just like, you better hang in with me here.
We've all
and then
been
they
there.
Just kind of power vomit over top of themselves, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? No, buddy. Talking about a real specific person.
I'm
Shout out
now.
to you if you're listening.
I'm primed already.
Next time that happens, I'm just gonna be like, I'm prime.
Yeah, that's
all
covered
in green.
I need somebody to puke on me.
I'm prime now. So this is our hero. He's
the main dude.
And he's supposed to connect like kids to these other heroes.
And just to let folks know, Prime was the most popular character at Malibu Comics. He was the selling point of the universe there.
The crazy thing is, like, that's your introduction in this very opening, like in the theme song. You just see a kid vomit and sweat and bleed and ejaculate green goo onto himself and become whatever this monster is. Welcome to Ultraforce. If you get past that, the rest of them are palatable.
Yeah.
Who's next? Yeah.
So, I want to say next up, Hard Case. Let's talk about Hard Case. I'm kind of curious about what your guys' take is on Hard Case.
I think a couple different people.
Who could they be ripping off with this guy?
Could be War Machine. But he doesn't have, so he's like blonde, blue-eyed, muscle-bound dude. He's got like weird like prison guard attire.
Oh, I got it mixed up.
Yeah, we're on.
Hard Case. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No,
okay, so Hard Case.
None of this matters.
None of it. It's all the
Case.
same. It all blurs together after a certain point.
Everybody's blue and yellow.
Hard Case. Like legit. He reminds me of Wonder Man from the Marvel comics because he has like legit the same background.
Yeah.
Like everything, pretty much except for his one-time membership as part of the Exiles.
What about his wrists? What's he rocking his accents on the wrists and belt and ankles there?
He kind of actually reminded me of Booster Gold, with sort of like the design and sort of the wrist cuffs and just sort of the ambition to be popular and have people like look up to him and him be like revered. And he's just like, he's, we'll get into this with this unnecessary plot that they try to shovel into this fucking show. But yeah, like he's, it's something where like he's the most popular. He's definitely the most recognizable Ultra
so he's
out
like
of
the face
all of them.
The Ultras
he's like a household name
that people still don't trust or want to let live free. Like the military is basically trying to bring them in immediately, but we'll get to that. But like, I can't think of anybody else he's kind of like modeled after. Wonder Man and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, he's kind of like Wonder Man and Wonder Woman like slapped together. He kind of looks like, remember that old game on the Genesis Comics Zone?
Yes. I actually
he does
have it on my monitor.
Oh, you do? Yeah. He kind of looks like that guy.
He does actually. That's really funny. He looks almost exactly like that guy. It's pretty weird. He looks like, what's that Batman villain that was like a master of locks? The jailer, Lockup.
Lockup. Yeah.
He kind of looks like him if Lockup had like a blue and yellow color scheme.
Oh, and by the way, what are Hardcase's powers?
I have no clue. Sometimes he flies. Sometimes he's super strong.
He had. It seems like it's strength.
I
It seems like
guess.
it's like partial flight. It
Something
also
like
seems
that.
like
Right, yeah.
it seems like he can shoot stuff.
They were
out of his
so
hands.
fucking lazy with it. I mean,
They
like
were. It was
legit,
always
like
like-
everybody
It seems
does that. Every single character minus Ghoul.
Well, Ghoul might as well jump into Ghoul because guess what? Topaz was introduced in the intro. We never see her. Sorry,
I didn't
Topaz.
watch her once.
See you later. You want to talk Ghoul?
Yeah, I thought
if-
Ghoul
if-
had a really, really cool power.
He's more of like the intel side of things, right? So he's more like the tech side rather than the battle side, I guess you'd say.
So, like, I didn't read comics with Ghoul in them, but you can tell
No, you
that
didn't.
I can tell that was definitely edited in the fact that so like his power of being able to grab like an item. I'm sure it's that like in the comics he can talk to the dead or like he
It's
grabs
like
a
got like a
corpse
Hellboy
or
thing or
something.
something going on.
That's
Yeah.
how it works. I'm sure. I don't know. Ghoul fans, feel free to drop
Let
us an
know,
email
Russian Ghoul fans.
about what Ghoul's powers and abilities are. But I dig the design's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah, this guy-
all things considered,
It's all right,
in a garbage bag full of shit, he kind of rises to the top.
which is hilarious because he's mostly like necrotic flesh and
Yeah, and a
worms
trench coat.
and dead
really.
tissues in a trench coat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like
he's L.A. Noir of
Valentine
the dead.
from Fallout 4. That
oh yeah, like the literal Ghoul. That's the
Yeah.
Mhm.
trench coat and the sort of PI kind of guy.
yeah. Oh yeah, he was a synthetic.
Well, he was
yeah,
a-
that's
that's
He
right.
was
the same
a,
kind of deal.
he was a synthetic.
Take that, synthetics and ghouls. Y'all look alike to Evan Valentine.
Yeah.
You said it.
Ooh,
pawned it
this is
off
gonna
on
turn
him.
into a different podcast where Sean gets really heated about Fallout 4.
We'll play back the recording.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Because I'm pretty sure that I said.
yeah.
Oh, man.
So anyway, but yeah, so his powers were interesting, but they did not really help out all that much in like actual
All right.
battle. Like he just kind of stayed out of the way. He couldn't fly. There's literally a scene where he's like, "Well, I can't like jump 1,000 feet
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
there, so somebody please get me down there. I'm just gonna rub these dog tags together and give you exposition, and then we'll go from there."
I need a name. He has like a Brooklyn accent.
He's got
kinda
something.
thing.
He's got
He's
something
kind of like
going on.
Deadman from.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like real. That's who his.
That's probably the rip.
The rip for him. Deadman from
Yeah.
DC.
I can see it.
But clearly, you can see that I put the word "ghoul" instead of "dead man." So, Your Honor, I think
DC's
I think that my
attorneys just
case
get up and
rests
hold
at
two
this
pictures
point.
and are like, "Look,
Just use your eyes.
no more questions."
and they would just if they just showed a picture of what Tony Stark
Oh,
looks
man.
like versus the character that played Prototype, and they were just like, "What's the difference?" And you're like, "Well, clearly, one's called Prototype and one's called
Completely
Iron
They're
Man."
totally different.
I will say this. I love that Jimmy Ruiz, who I don't understand what's going on with Jimmy Ruiz. I don't know how old he
He's
actually
from a bad
is.
neighborhood.
He's from a real bad neighborhood.
He grew up tough.
Who got bad schools. Blame the roaches.
Got these.
Yeah, they only
got
work
these,
for me,
subdermal
sweetheart.
implants right here. Let's
It's
me,
$50
let's
million
me,
suit
let's
of
the
armor.
juice
Was it
go
really
through to me to the
$50
machine.
million?
$50 million,
Yeah.
yeah, from Ultratech. Because everything's Ultra, by the way.
Everything's
I don't know if we
Ultra.
mentioned that
Mhm.
Ultraforce is a team that takes place in the Ultraverse of the comics, and Ultratech is a company in said universe. Terrible. So
I'm surprised that there isn't just a character in this
I'm
universe
sure there
that's
is.
just called
Probably
like
is.
Mr. Ultra or Ultra or
they got like super,
Alta.
super
Isn't that a
high-end
store? Isn't
makeup.
Alta like
Yeah.
a
It's the best.
isn't like a
it's the best
cosmetic
hero
store?
ever. Glamour hero. But like, okay, so prototype's
boy.
a knockoff. Yeah, he's
But yeah,
not,
we've got Tony
Jimmy
Stark on a budget
Ruiz
with
is
Prototype.
not a genius. He's not a billionaire. He's not an inventor. He's
Mhm.
not a tech guy. I don't know how the fuck he got this job.
Yeah, how did that
honestly.
happen?
And he's like their spokesperson, but he's always like going against orders, mouthing off, super arrogant. Comes from a bad neighborhood. Why is he your spokesperson? What is happening? So I don't know what's going on with that. But Prototype's powers pretty similar to Iron Man.
He's Iron Man.
He's Iron Man.
There's
He's 100%
literally
He's 100% Iron Man.
he's 100% Iron Man.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
He's 100%
Oh, cheap, though,
Iron
50
Man.
mil, not bad.
Mhm.
That's pretty. That's
cheap
pretty good.
ass Iron Man.
Prototype. We can make some more.
Yeah,
of it.
hey.
This is the first one.
It's a prototype for the Iron Man
Ah,
suit, so
got
we'll
it.
just call it
Do you
prototype.
see? It's a prototype. I'm Stan Lee from Marvel Comics.
I'll take $1 million for my great ideas, Malibu Comics.
It's a prototype. Don't you see? Now I sound like the guy from Falling Down.
I wonder if this was something that I wonder if Stan Lee bought this because he's like, sometimes I just want to watch the world burn, and he just like went to a warehouse full of Malibu comics and just like flicked a lit cigarette and was like, I just don't give a fuck. This is how much cash I have. I'm 94 years old. Fuck you.
Do you want to hear the craziest? So I looked a little bit about
Did you?
Malibu Comics. Do you want to know the craziest character who was like the longest running character? I think his name.
Lord Pumpkin.
Yes.
No, it's not even in Ultraforce.
Oh.
It's Manta, I think his name is called, and he would transform into a superhero, but the catch was it was a woman's body. So he would essentially become a woman warrior like Wonder Woman, but he would still be a guy.
Why was he named Man?
I don't know. One time he got pregnant.
I'll read this guy.
They had an issue. They showed it where he's like, I'm pregnant! And it was on the cover.
I'll say this. I'm interested.
And now you have my attention.
Tell me more.
And now you have my attention.
You have my attention. Good sir, go on.
Yeah,
Your
we're not
Honor.
even going to argue on that one. There's no way you
It's like,
copied that off
That's
anybody.
Yours. That's yours. Keep that one. That's your flagship character.
So this is the only IP that I'm
We'll
walking
build the
away
whole
from this
cinematic
litigation from.
universe.
Great.
It says here Black Manta? No.
No,
Totally
no,
different.
that's a different
Totally
one.
different things. The lady. See? Man and lady.
It's
That would actually
No,
work
no,
really
no,
well
no,
today
no,
since
no, no,
everybody,
no.
the progressives like to talk kind of like transsexual rights and transsexual stories and things like that. That would be interesting to see that character. I'm sure it would be done poorly and would piss everyone off, but it's actually a really interesting idea for a hero. So you not only become a superhero, but you actually like have to deal with swapping genders.
Yeah.
That's a real mind twist right there. Manta.
I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to disagree with you on this one, Dave, because I think what would happen is not only would it be done poorly, but then people who are in the transgender community, and clearly I'm speaking as an advocate, or just I'm speaking simply just as an ally for them right now. It would be something where they're just like, well, yeah, but this person isn't like, they can change back and forth.
We are.
Like, we've made a
What
decision.
has
And you'd be
Malibu
like,
Comics
I get
wrought?
that. And then we'd be
Manta
right back in this court
walks in
case. We'd be
both
like, clear, Your Honor, we did not mean to offend everybody with our Manta movie, but we understand that we have, so we'd like to just be able to donate all of the proceeds. We only made $1 from the movie.
Who paid that
Oh,
$1?
man.
This
This is hard, guys. This is we're not doing it.
Yes.
And it's just Stan Lee in the background, just like smoking a cigar. He's like, perfect. Yes, perfect.
All according to plan.
Oh Christ! All right, where are we at now? Who have we not gotten to? Topaz, right?
Yeah,
Topaz.
Topaz.
Nobody cares about Topaz.
We didn't see
She doesn't
Topaz
show up.
once.
I just need to mention her again because she doesn't show up. I feel like
Nobody gives a shit about Topaz. I want to. I think that's the worst
sounds
thing
like
is that I
Wonder Woman.
want to legitimately care about this character.
They said she was like a warrior
because
of
she's-
Wendor or something.
yeah, she sounds like Wonder
basically.
Woman.
And like her
And-
skin
and,
changes
like,
color when her
Hawkwoman.
powers activate.
Oh,
or
is that what
something.
happens?
Well, I saw like in the brief thing, she
She's like a mood
activated
ring.
her staff.
I just
have
thought
no
it was.
idea what
I
her
thought it
deal
was
is.
just a bad video rip. I
Could be.
thought it was like a tube TV when the tubes start to go out and just like everything changes colors.
Could have really been that.
For the longest time, I thought Fakor on Masters of the Universe was just my TV going bad. Like, why is He-Man being such a dick? Why is he blue?
Oh God!
Kids in your tube TVs. Contrary? Do we know anything
Yeah,
about her really?
No.
No,
She's very mysterious.
she's mysterious.
She's mysterious. We don't know if she's disabled. Can she
She
transport
can
herself?
teleport.
She can transport
She's
people.
got like telepathy for small boys. Yep,
Mhm.
yep.
She
can
teleported
calm
Ghoul at that one
Prime
moment.
down when he's
Of
freaking
course,
out.
you're a man.
Oh,
No one's.
everyone knows that you're a man. It's like, what the fuck are you doing with this 13-year-old boy? Contrary.
Yeah, that was terrible.
She has a wheelchair, but we think she can walk. Not sure
She's
what's
just
going on
lazy.
there. She's just lazy.
She wants the handicapped parking spots.
She's in real good shape, but she's super fucking lazy.
Oh my god.
Let's touch on a couple of sort of minor characters. So there's Pix. Pix is a sort of techno resident hacker wizard genius who, spoiler alert.
She's Jubilee, and she's also voiced by Jubilee.
Whoa, was it the same one?
I think that's
it was the
pretty.
same one?
That they sounded identical. I don't know if that's.
So I think she's Pix because she's got the pixie haircut. But yeah, she's essentially kind of like.
Oh, but you were saying spoilers. Spoiler alert. What happens to Pix is that she dies, much like Morph in the Night of the Sentinels X-Men. She dies way worse because
Morph was also voiced by Jubilee.
It's crazy how it all works out.
Everybody's voiced by Jubilee.
Yeah. So how did she die? Because we're not even once we get into the plot, honestly this plot's so stupid. We're only going to talk about the craziest aspects of it, and this is one of them.
So she dies in a Wrath of Khan sort of way, wherein she has to deactivate the nukes, and the nuclear material is essentially she shoves Ghoul out of the way and does it herself. She shoves the dead guy out of the way, and tries to essentially disassemble
dissipate all the nuclear
the nuclear stuff, and she dies ugly. She dies super ugly. I just remember that when I was a kid, and I actually watched this once or twice, and that was the one thing that I remembered when I was a kid was like all her hair falling out and like her skin sucking in and all that stuff. And
like that would have been cool if they brought her back as a villain or like a something later, but this thing only had like 13 episodes, so
she was the Agent Coulson to their Avengers. She had to go.
Yeah, because originally
they needed that rallying point.
Yeah. They're going to be the rallying point.
And then she got her own live action series on ABC.
Yep.
Still going to
Agents of Pix.
Agents of Pix. It was an acronym though. It's coming up with 2 X's next to each other. She did spell her name with 2 X, by the way. That's how you know, because 90s. Let's talk about some villains. So we've got Adelon. Hey, what do you think of Adelon?
He's there. He's such a weird.
He's Magneto.
Really? Is he though?
He's Magneto. He's Underworld Magneto.
He was like Mole Man, but
I'm gonna say Underworld Magneto. He's the leader of the Fire People.
Yeah, what the fuck? I don't even know.
He talks like Apocalypse, but he's got gravity power, which is essentially kind of like Magneto's magnetism power. The same way that he uses it. He can manipulate people as they fly around. He can change sort of their own gravity. He can make them float away. He can make them sink.
You surface dwellers have enjoyed the sun in the air for long enough.
The fucker Fire People. I don't know what's going on. But Adelon lives below ground, wants to take control of all these nukes, and he's the main antagonist to the Ultraforce from the get-go. What do you think of Adelon, John?
I thought that he was sort of Grey Hulk.
But everybody looked like that.
Mixed with sort of Conan the Barbarian kind of a character. Yeah, it's just that he was just another giant beefcake human being, just with
every
a slightly
character,
different color skin.
Every male character looks like that.
Every male character is like an anatomy model doll, but jacked up to ridiculous proportions. When one dude walks into the screen, and just all right, that's a super heroic looking dude. Another one will walk in that's twice as big as he is, and then literally another one walks in who's 10 times as big as he is. And these dudes just keep getting bigger and bigger to the point that it becomes not only grotesque, but also terrifying. Either when they're supposed to be the good or the bad guys. They're terrifying. It reminded me of Maul from Wildcats, right?
Yeah.
How his head never changed.
But everybody looked like him.
But everybody looked like Maul. There was no contrast between the two different people. It was really fucking creepy. And we'll get to some of them in a minute.
That's creepy. It's really, really creepy. Yeah.
Gotta talk Lord
Pumpkin. Oh boy. We have to talk now, Sean. We didn't.
Yeah.
The pump.
I just want to segue into it as much as possible because this guy's batshit insane and I love it.
Oh my god, Sean. So as I was talking with Dave a little bit about the episodes beforehand. I unironically love Lord Pumpkin. I think he was the far and away the best part because he's just so stupid and batshit insane. Everything about him. He's a pumpkin crime boss who has a jack-o'-lantern for a head.
Yep.
And his body is like stalks inside of a suit.
Nice suit though.
And he's very like Shakespearean and Victorian
Quite dapper.
in his talk, in his speech patterns. He also happens to have a 14-year-old heir named Pistol. You would expect that Pistol would have pistols. But Pistol has his own unique brand of pistols, which are pistols that emerge forth from corn cob stalks that he pulls.
Makes no sense because they take this kid who's like half like 20s gangster in like a zoot suit and then combines him with a plant man so that he's got corn guns. Makes zero sense.
And they have a good relationship.
Oh, yeah,
Lord
yeah.
Pumpkin loves this kid, and this kid loves Lord
It's
Pumpkin.
not abusive whatsoever. I mean, except for the fact that they're both like running a criminal empire. But other than that, it's like a Batman and Robin almost. It's kind of like a nurturing, protecting, terrible relationship.
And their muscle. Oh yeah, go ahead, Sean.
I really want to know who Lord Pumpkin got
Oh,
tender
yeah.
with
to
on a
create
hayride
Pistol?
in order to create Pistol
Could have been
with
King
like corn
Cob.
cob power.
Do you know the origin of Lord Pumpkin, Sean? Because we looked it up before.
Here's a pro tip for listeners out there. Never look up anything on any of these characters. Because then you will learn about things like liquid flesh.
Yep.
And the golden wheel.
And the Golden Wheel, which is the universe that Lord Pumpkin is from. Now, Lord Pumpkin was
Is it God? Is it the God Wheel?
Oh,
Is it the Gold Wheel
or
or
the
the
Golden
God
Wheel?
It's probably God Wheel. Golden Wheel.
He's
makes
from the universe
slightly less
called
sense.
God Wheel, wherein Lord Pumpkin was created as a toy for a prince of a kingdom.
Basically like Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so like the kid just loved torturing Lord Pumpkin when he was like a toy, and Lord Pumpkin rebelled and took over the kingdom.
I kind of like this guy a lot.
And so then he found his way to Earth because he wanted to conquer it by becoming a Victorian gangster in New York City that creates drugs that are sprouting out of plants that he keeps in the pit of the opera house where he is
It's a lot to wrap your head around. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
Oh, man.
I love it though. Yeah, so he's got these drugs that are basically the fruit of this like carnivorous plant that he feeds either raw steaks, live alligators,
Yep.
or occasionally.
Oh, I
ultras.
can't believe that people don't think that there were live alligators in the New York sewers.
It's such a complete mess. But I love Zook. Zook is a drug I want to try.
It seems like there's no bad things that can happen.
No,
from
everything's totally
just
fine.
shoving the liquid into your face
Yeah.
and growing like 10 times your size.
It's totally fine. These guys are jacked though, man. I don't know. Zook seems alright.
And Lord Pumpkin's muscle, of course,
Yeah.
is
Sludge.
Sludge, who Sludge, who you would think is just a big
Sludge.
stupid villain until it's revealed that Sludge at one point was a New York City cop who fell into toxic sewer
Something.
waste that then was indebted to Lord Pumpkin because Zook is the only thing that can extremely momentarily turn him back into what he... And when I say extremely momentarily, I mean he can get half a sentence out before he even turns back into Sludge, and he has to, like, when he eats a vine of it.
So Sludge, Sludge is this big, hulking, dripping, gross monstrosity. He
Yeah.
kind of looks like Maul if he was, like, melting. And he can't speak properly. It takes 3 times for him to get the word out that he wants to say. So it's always a wrong word, the right word. So he seems very stupid. The crazy thing is that when he's addicted to Zook, because I can't believe I'm even saying this, because when he takes the Zook, he returns to his normal state, which is just an incredibly ripped, bald
Blue Man!
But he could speak normally for roughly 3.5 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, John.
Clearly, Your Honor, you can see that Dr. Manhattan does not change into Swamp Thing, the Swamp Thing at any point in time. Like, it's...
What if they presented Sludge in his Dr. Manhattan form, and then the judge was like, "Now you gotta make them all goopy and shit, or else you're gonna get sued."
I love that the judge is now getting like creative control of his character.
I own 25% of Malibu Comics. Case closed.
And he reveals his mask at the end. I'm Stan Lee. It's been me the whole time. I would have gotten away with it.
I'm
Nobody
gonna
fucks
burn this
with
to the
Marvel.
ground.
Fuck this show.
You know what? Again, we've said this now. We've said this now for like the second time. I want everything that
fun.
we've talked about as a Marvel what if comic. Like if they brought all of this crazy silliness in as like a Marvel what if for all of this, just to make fun
Sean,
of Ultraforce, like a thing that they
I must
own, they don't give a
interject
fuck
and
about.
tell
So
you
why not
that when
lampoon it?
Marvel had first purchased Ultraforce and Malibu Comics, they did try desperately to shove them in people's faces by having the two universes cross over.
Ugh.
And they would literally, like, they loved Rune, and Rune was the vampire
That
who
we like
doesn't
briefly
show.
mentioned in the intro.
Yeah, they didn't really show him in either of the episodes,
Yeah.
but he was essentially like they had Rune versus Spider-Man versus Venom versus X-Men versus like Avengers and all this other stuff,
Nobody cared.
and nobody cared. They
Nobody
couldn't
cared.
sell people
It
on
would
it.
be hilarious now, though, to Sean's point. Like, a nostalgia run of Ultraforce would be fucking nuts in this day and age.
I don't even know who would even own them at this point. I guess Marvel must still own them.
The world's experts in them are like right here.
We're gonna
So,
hit Phase 6 of the MCU,
God, if
and
we
it's
get
gonna
an
be
Ultraforce-
Ultraforce.
If we get an Ultraforce shared universe,
that
I'm
prime
burning-
stinger after the credits of Guardians of the Galaxy 6.
or it's just a kid who vomits on himself and explodes into a roid mess.
Rocket Raccoon, you've dropped the liquid flesh. It's fine. It's not
fine.
gonna land on some kid.
I'm sure this kid's gonna be fine. I don't know why he has a cigar right there, but whatever. Whatever.
Yes.
I don't know.
guess
Speaking
we'll
of
start with
things
the
that
first
don't make any sense, you guys want to get into this plot?
Let's just go through craziest possible
Yeah, let's start with this first.
somethings because it's not even worth.
Um,
Here's the plot. Contrary brings these ultras together, these disparate ultras who have kind of known each other but never really worked together. Brings them together to fight a greater threat, which nobody even knows what it is. Spoiler alert: it's Adelon. He steals a bunch of nukes, and like
He's the
Magneto, he's the enemy and enemy, which we'll talk about in a second. Basically wants to launch them at the surface world and destroy all humans. For condemning him and his fire people for some slight in the past. That's it. Good versus bad. It's really all about watching Hard Case sweat out the nights drinking
Has
before
his PTSD.
has his PTSD, figure out what the fuck enemy is, and then see Prime like strain the physics of human flesh and just be a complete asshole to everybody.
Hard Case, by the way, has my absolute favorite line from this episode, which is toward the end where he's just had enough. He can't see his friends die anymore. He hits a rock and goes, "Man, losing my friends. This stinks." Oh yeah, he goes, "He's just a kid. I hate this. Losing friends, man. It stinks."
Like, wow.
What a weird.
It's a terrible delivery, a terrible line.
He like in this instance, because I loved this scene as well, Evan. It's like one of those things like if you had a kid that like kicked the ground and just went, "Ah, shucks," but like
Yeah, and he's like
this character could like
he's
punch
like
a house
veteran
down,
at
and
this.
he was just
he
like,
has more
"Ah."
years clocked under his belt than everybody. It's like, "Oh, gee whiz, this is terrible. I hate this. It sucks."
Losing friends, man, that really stinks. It was like a little rascal if he was a superhero. Real bad. There were some bad things in here. So like we learn Hard Case kind of has this PTSD. We see the enemy, this weird amalgam of all these different movie creatures, pretty much kills all of his friends. Even DJ Blast, who goes critical.
Is that really his name?
DJ Blast.
Oh God.
Yeah, DJ Blast.
DJ Blast.
Get out of here, Hard Case.
Yeah, DJ Blast,
He's
Yeah.
a Black Jubilee.
who was
I'm
black.
going
He was
critical.
Black
Critical.
Jubilee, voiced by Jubilee.
So he has PTSD.
Oh
yeah.
man.
You want to talk about his Hollywood history?
Can we
How he's
talk
supposed to be
about-
on set in Hollywood? And
Oh,
he's
go
like,
ahead.
I'm not
He had
doing this
PTSD.
crap anymore.
I'm gonna be.
I mean, sure,
a
we're
little
literally
bit.
on set right now, but
Okay,
take your time,
cool.
I guess. Hard
We're-
case. Like,
I mean, I also love the fact that in light of the fact that 4 nuclear silos have been have had like incidences where like nuclear weapons have been stolen in the United States on the West Coast.
People gotta
Hollywood
live.
is like,
People need
look
entertainment."
guys, we still got movies to shoot. In the event that this like all blows over,
Even Prime's parents seemed mildly annoyed at the fact
I love
that
his parents.
because they were like, his mom was like,
Ruth.
these ultras, Ruth the mother, she's like, these ultras, I just know that they're just gonna kidnap all or take the world by force
Yeah.
or something.
She's freaking out over the ultras while her son is vomiting and jizzing up green liquid flesh, and she doesn't pay any attention to him, but he's just like literally covered in green flesh at this point. His dad is trying to chill the mom out, and Ruth's like, the dad's like, lighten up, he's a teenager. She's like, lighten up, he's on the drugs. And at this point, he just turns into Prime and flies away. Where his dad's like, what's his dad say?
His dad goes, I can't help you, son. No one can help you.
So, I don't know what the fuck's going on there, but
I love the fact that the dad has to just go to his wife. He just goes, lighten up, Ruth. Like, and that was his argument out of the gate. It was like, whoa, buddy, you want to learn how to argue with your significant other? Don't start out by saying, lighten up, Ruth. It's just like...
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, honey. All of the nuclear bombs in the world are being stolen.
Man. It comes off aggressive.
Lighten up, Ruth. Back to reading my...
Lighten up, Evan.
People said candy butts a lot in this episode. Prototype says candy butts a lot, like literally 3 times, which is 3 times
candy
more
butts.
than
Save your candy butt. Prototype.
Candy butts. We got what's Prime's catchphrase?
Prime time.
Damn it. What's Prototype's catchphrase? Candy butts.
Candy butts.
Candy butts.
Spokesperson of Ultratech.
Ultratech. Yep.
Candy butts. Yep. Is there anything worth talking about in this first episode?
I think we kind of.
I did like that Prime would continually bust through the side of Contrary's ship. That was funny. That was funny.
We do have a door. I hated Prime, everything about Prime,
everything else
besides that.
Yep.
But him busting through the ship was kind of funny. So.
We should mention that enemy is not spelled like you think it is. It's actually the letters NME, and it stands for Nanotech Mechanized Entity, because everything is terrible. I have one other fun line from Adelon. This is how I learned that he has a mastery of gravity, because he said to the heroes, you do not grasp the gravity of your situation because, you see, gravity is my specialty.
Oh god, I missed that the first time. I think I blacked out.
Candy butts.
It's prime time.
It's prime. Damn it.
I would like to add one thing
about,
so Prime has prime time.
Yeah.
Prototype says candy butts. You know what Hard Case's saying should be? He should jump into battle and just go, I'm hard. And that's it.
That would cause me to stop fighting, probably. Just be like, nah, did not get paid enough for this. I think I'm good. Ooh, yikes.
He's a lover, not a fighter in that case.
Normally, when we are picking shows here, we like to watch the first one to let everything know how it's been set up, and then we tend to watch the highest rated one. Nobody cared enough to rate these episodes, so we picked the one with the craziest title. The title of this one is Lord Pumpkin's Pie. And I just had to watch that because what the hell's gonna happen? Could they possibly say the title in the episode? I don't know. Let's find out.
Yep.
What is happening in this episode? This is only like episode 4.
So,
they're like in their beach headquarters.
They're in their beach headquarters. Prototype is angry at Prime because they're constantly fighting. And first off, Hard Case is trying to hit on some women, and then Ghoul shows up and scares them away. Yeah. So he can't use his patented catchphrase of "I'm hard" in this scenario. It would have worked. He's a movie star.
He's a movie star. And an ultra.
And an ultra on top of everything else. But
literally.
Yeah. So Prototype and Prime are butting heads. Prototype is angry that he is not an ultra. So
they kind of have this thing. It's sort of like the Iron Man thing where they say like you're just a human in a super suit. Like you're not really superpowered at all. At which point he gets a call from his mom. So it doesn't really help things.
Is your mommy like in the most annoying shit ever?
So Sean, here's a question for you. Prime is essentially a 12-year-old kid. Jimmy is young, but he's not a kid. He's probably like 18, 19, 20, something like that. Why is Kevin/Prime such a dick to this guy who's older than him, but like treating him like he's a little kid?
I think that for him, it's really just the complex that he's going to have for his entire life is the fact that he continues to feel like a child when he really is this adult Ultra, and so he'll always feel like he's trying to work to be bigger and better than what he is. I mean, we got a little bit of it in episode 1 where he was kind of somebody called him childish, or somebody called him like you're acting like such a kid, and he flipped out. I think that that's always going to be the internal conflict for that character, is that he doesn't feel like he's taken seriously, and that because of his strength and his power and his mass, that he should have more respect than he actually has. But he also doesn't seem to want to work for it to earn that respect, which is the big problem that you would have with somebody who's young, naive, who doesn't really understand that it's a two-way street, and feels that it's only kind of like a take relationship for him. So it's interesting to kind of see that continue to play out, because he's a real asshole. He's a 12-year-old kid. Fucking dick.
To be fair, they're both kind of dicks. I mean, Jimmy's not the best either. But we learn in this episode, he kind of... Go ahead.
Everybody on this team is shitty.
I don't like
everybody on this team seems like they're a real dick to each other. And I don't understand how they actually remain together as a cohesive team. Are they still rallying around the death of Pix? I don't know. I also don't want to find out.
I also don't care enough to find out.
Yeah, exactly.
So this episode is kind of like, it gives you, it's sort of like if Tony Stark didn't have his super suit. It gives you a chance to see Jimmy Ruiz kind of go back to the streets, take care of his mom, who's half his height and black. I don't really understand his parentage, but that's for another discussion that we'll never have. So that's fine. Go ahead.
I did like that point though. I did like the fact that it was something that they did inject, that he had some type of a like multi-ethnic background. I thought that was a great extra dimension and layer. Maybe his dad is like Spanish descent, and maybe his mother is African American. But that was something that I thought came together really well. Like, they didn't even have to say or hit on it. It was just something that you saw it, and you're just like, oh, thank God, this is not just white people doing like white people superhero stuff for 20 minutes every time. Like, there might be an extra dimension, whether or not they play with it. It's Malibu Comics, guys.
Yeah.
They're not going to hint and play with this at all. But there's an opportunity that's there, I would like a what if comic where they just delve into his Jimmy Louise's past and really
I'm
actually
sure
get
it
a little bit
exists.
more
Is
information.
He had a comic series.
Is it Ruiz or Louise?
Ruiz, right?
Oh, Ruiz. Okay. I kept hearing Louise. I'm like, I don't think Luis or Ruiz.
Didn't somebody teased him about, like, they were like, what up, Louise?
Jimmy Louise.
Like, they...
Yeah, if his name was Ruiz, they probably just called him Louise. But was that one of Hector's gang? Hector, that slab of beef.
Oh, man.
Marcello.
You got all these
the
gang factions. You got Hector, you
Pump.
got Marcello.
What a terrible name. If you were trying to take over gang territory in any major city in America, or the world, really, if you were known as the Pump, I don't think it's going to work for you.
Imagine you go to meet a guy named the Pump. Would you really
the
think
Pump.
that it would be a pumpkin creature?
A pumpkin man.
That's
Jack Skellington.
That's like Jack. He is very much like Jack Skellington.
He's a little bit Jack Skellington. He's whatever the Jack Pumpkinhead from Return to Oz.
Oh, yeah.
Same kind of character. I did like the Pump. I will say that. Did like the Pump. Terrible name. But I like the Pump.
He was a very interesting villain. In not just because like he was just delightful to watch. Really, like everything about Lord Pumpkin was just so goofy and stupid. Like it just made it fun. Like as opposed to watching like Prime or Prototype and being like, oh, they're just such and such. Who cares?
Yeah.
Everything about Lord Pumpkin would just make you go, wait, what? What's happening?
Yeah.
How is this? Okay, whatever.
I still don't get what he was trying to do, except for the
run the underworld.
He was trying to run the underworld, but at one point, okay, so Zook, like we said, it helps Sludge become kind of normal again. But what Zook does for normal people to begin with is it jacks them up. Like it makes them huge. It's basically steroids on steroids. And then every once in a while you'll crash and become like this husk of a human being. But it's fine, man. You're just zooked out. Just take some more Zook and you'll be totally fine. The fuck? But also, I love that there's one line where Lord Pumpkin finally says, he's like feeding his plants to get more Zook. And he says, Zook will make this city Lord Pumpkin's pie. Anytime they say the title of an episode in an episode, choice. Just
we gave up.
Chef's
Fuck
kiss. So good. This spice. Mwah. But Sean, what the hell was he trying to do? What was he trying to do in this episode? I know take over the underworld, make New York his pumpkin pie, but like through what?
Through this drug? Through pitting gangs against one another to kill each other? This was what was confusing. So we have this faction where Hector is selling drugs, but he's selling drugs on Marcello's territory. So in broad daylight, Marcello tries to do a drive-by and kill Hector's
with laser guns.
Laser guns. Which Hector gets shot, and he's just like, ugh, but take more Zook. Like,
yeah. They said,
shove it
like,
in your face.
Yeah, Jimmy was like, Hector, you okay? Like, he just came back, stepped out of his super suit, and saw all his old buddies, and then they just got laser blasted in the face. He's like, are you okay? Yeah, man, he's just zooked out. And they just ring a grate full of, like, Zook over his face and just stuff green jello in his mouth again. It's such a weird
It's like
scene.
if somebody had really, really juicy edamame, and they just, every time you wanted to get high, just with, like, whatever their gross, like, hands were from hanging out in a back alley with trash cans, and they just squeezed this drug and it absorbed into your skin, and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm super jacked. Oh, I'm hard. Oh, like it's crazy.
It's I'd also like to mention that Lord Pumpkin had a killer theme song that was so ominous and like would get you ready for the pump.
Get ready for the pump.
Get you ready for the pump.
The pump is coming.
And it's like going in the background. It's pretty
he was basically like Scarecrow.
Yeah, it was like kind of like Batman Scarecrow.
He's got to have a badass theme song. He is essentially, he's Scarecrow, he's Jack Skellington, and he's Phantom of the Opera all in one, with like the ghost of Shakespeare inhabiting his gourd head. It's incredible.
He quotes Shakespeare.
He does, sort of. I couldn't figure out what his powers were because there was one point where it looked like he just melted everybody in like this vat of like acid.
Yeah, I thought they were all dead.
Yeah, they look like they're super dead, including Jimmy. So I guess long story short at this point, Jimmy flies in. He meets these gang leaders. He tries to like bring about a peace. The rival gang leader wants him to kill Lord Pumpkin. He's like, I'm not a hitman. I'm not doing that. So the rival gang leader gets an old flame of his by the name of Rita, sort of soften Jimmy up, see if she can get his suit because it's worth $50 million, and then take him and Pumpkin out in the process. So that's kind of the long and short of it there. So it all ends with Jimmy without a suit, trying to take on not only Hector in hand-to-hand combat, who's like the size of a building at this point, but also Lord Pumpkin himself and like Sludge later on, which is crazy.
You guys, I figured it out.
You figured it out?
I figured out this episode.
Evan's
It's Cowboy Bebop.
What?
Continue.
It's exactly like Cowboy Bebop.
What, like the red eye?
No, with just the vicious storyline.
Vicious
and Spike and how that all went down. This is exactly like
Don't
that.
You dare besmirch the name Cowboy Bebop with this garbage.
Let's spit that thought out of your mouth, Evan. Let's never talk about it again.
Evan's been hitting the pump while we've been.
What's better, Zook or Red Eye?
Oh, the Bloody Eye.
Yeah, I feel like Red Eye was superior.
Bloody Eye was good, but it didn't last very long either.
It gave you it
just
also gave you terrible side effects.
Yeah, also. Yeah.
Well, Red Eye or Crystal Twist right now then.
Crystal Twist or what was the other one?
From Lone Star?
From Brave Star?
From Brave Star.
I can't think of what it was, but back to Lord Pumpkin. So I can't figure out his powers exactly. He can grow plants. He can apparently sire a child named Pistol.
Give him guns.
Give him corncob
guns.
He can like create portals. So like he, for whatever reason, brought everybody, all the gang members, Jimmy, everybody down into the sewers for no apparent reason.
Yeah, for no reason.
Just to have like a big fight. And the weird thing about Lord Pumpkin is like every time he looks like he's beaten the hero, and they're like under a pile of rubble, he's like, let's see what happens. He like literally says, let's go home and see what happens.
He may be destroyed, young sir, but
see what becomes of this.
See what happens.
I mean, just what? Like he's not even trying, which I kind of love because he just keeps doing this and he's having fun with it.
Yeah, he's having a good time.
Old Pumpkin. The crazy thing is that at the end of this episode, like something bizarre happens with Jimmy where like it looks like he gets kind of struck by lightning. So I don't know if it's his like prototype energy kind of coursing through him or what. But he's just like in this ball of lightning. His clothes disappear at the end of this episode, but they somehow reappear at the beginning of the next one. probably because they didn't get past the censors. And then with all that energy that he has, it actually is like mutating the Zook fruit. Every once in a while I hear myself talking and I'm just like, fuck, what am I saying? It mutates the Zook fruit. Lord Pump feeds it to a rat. The rat becomes like giant sized. And that's pretty much everything. I stopped. I couldn't do any more of this follow-up episode. I just couldn't do it. Was there anything else? Did you watch the one after it?
No, I haven't watched it. Sean, you watched it though, right?
I did. I don't know why.
Okay, what? Oh God, what happens in this?
I mean, they've just as quickly as they've introduced all the chaos and madness in this. There's a battle. There's a rescue. There's Sludge kind of like further realizing. Sludge actually is the one who kind of gives Prototype back his suit. Like he makes the sacrifice to give it back to him, and that sort of gives Prototype back his powers, and he just starts kind of kicking ass at that point. And also at this point, Prime and Hardcase and Ghoul have showed up, and in this moment where you have this one moment that acknowledges the fight that they had back at the beach house, where Prototype out of suit, they both like put fingers up to each other, and he just goes, "You." He goes, He's like, "I'm still upset with you, but I'm glad you're on my team." And Prime just looks at him like, "The fuck are you talking about?" And then they just break off and just punch stuff, and that's punch it, and that's yeah. And they just there's a bunch of shenanigans. At some point, Prototype out of suit drops behind Pistol and like picks him up and uses Pistol to try to bait his dad to come out so he can fight him, and that's the extent of what's going on for this episode. It's not good.
Oh, I should mention that the Pump also has like energy projection too.
Yeah,
has that because he like would go toe to toe with Prototype and like basically.
He's your typical Doctor Strange villain, kind of thing.
Yeah, the Pump.
His powers are whatever you need the story
at the moment
to be at the moment.
And we have
Ultraforce.
We have talked a lot about these two episodes.
Hey, by the way, let me real quick rundown of cartoon drugs, real quick.
Oh, sure.
So you got Bloody Eye.
Yeah.
We've now got Zook.
Zook.
We got Crystal Twist.
Right. In Brave Star, the drug
got Spin.
Spin. It was Spin in Brave Star.
Yep. Spin. We're gonna make candy or actual drugs out of these someday. I don't know which. But I'm glad we could add more cartoon drugs to the conversation.
There's also those drugs in Batman Beyond that were slappers.
Oh yeah,
It was like venom from essentially people would slap it on themselves.
We gotta watch that. I love cartoon drugs.
Wait.
All right, buddy. Not to cut you off. What were you getting to?
I was just gonna say I think that we have a couple opinions about how this show was and sort of what we watched for this evening. But there's some other people on the internet who have a difference of opinion. So we're going to transition into Love It or Hate It.
Opinions on the internet?
Yeah, I know.
You don't say.
Who knew?
The funny thing is, we normally pull Love It and Hate It from IMDb, but there were no reviews on IMDb, let alone ones that loved and hated it. So I pulled these from random ass corners of the internet, like MissRave.com. That's miscellaneousrave.com. Who says, I enjoyed the show enough that I'd watch it again and plan on reading a few of the comics since I like the universe enough. I think I would recommend it to fans of the comic, but they might not like it for Sat AM or Saturday morning, their favorite characters. So in other words, taking the comic book characters and Saturday morning-ize them. There does seem to be a fandom of the Malibu Ultraverse, as they call it. They were all pretty mad that Marvel acquired the company.
Nope.
Who was that?
They were all very mad.
Everybody was mad.
This is me, Stan Lee, writing this review on miscellaneousrave.com.
I'm so pissed off.
I love that this was Stan Lee's blog. But while the show is not great and fails in comparison to the other superhero shows from the time, it has something special. Hard to describe what, but the show just oozes out something cool about these ultra heroes. Yeah, it's called Liquid Flesh.
It's Liquid Flesh
and Liquid Flesh and Zook.
Oh, man.
Exactly.
All right. We have a second review that comes from storiesoфentertainment.com. So
really hitting all the winners.
Yeah. So here we go. It says, so did Ultraforce deserve more credit than it got? Great question to start with. It says, This series surprised me a bit. The characters have a bit more shape to them, and it took its time to introduce the members of the team rather than just introducing them all at once. However, the villains tended to fall a little bit flat at times and were mostly one-offs. Overall, I'm surprised that this only had 13 episodes. I wouldn't mind seeing more of this show.
10 out of
Again, this is me.
I'm sure Netflix is
yeah.
chomping at the bit to bring back Ultraforce.
Oh man, I'm gonna.
Netflix throws money at everything though. Like if I could get in a room with them and just pitch it, they'd be like, yeah, here's $1 billion.
It would.
We're just a money laundering front for the Russians.
If you managed to do that, Dave, it would still become a better series than Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather watch a live action terrifying Ultraforce than have to watch Iron Fist.
100%. 100%.
Yikes. So, what are our final thoughts here on Ultraforce? We're going to go round robin and say, do you recommend Ultraforce? And if not, this is interesting. Do you give it the dip? Now, for first-time listeners out there, when we give a show the dip, a nod back to Roger Rabbit, that means the show is erased from all existence and all memory for all time. We've only done it, I think, twice on this show so far. So, Evan, as our special guest tonight, do you recommend Ultraforce? And if not, does it get the dip?
I do not recommend Ultraforce.
Ooh.
And I would give it the dip under the pretense of being able to reach in and take Lord Pumpkin's hand and save
You
him
want to save the pump.
and Pistol and Sludge.
Wow, that's a lot. You want to pull those villains out?
I think that they offer something very unique that could be applied to the Marvel Cinematic Universe if they played their cards right.
I feel like if it was just Lord Pump, I think I'd be okay. But I feel like if you're gonna pull those guys out, I don't know if we can rubber stamp the dip or whatever that means. Because it erases everything.
Okay, I will not recommend it.
You can think about it because it may not get the dip yet. Let's see what Sean says.
I am absolutely not going to recommend this, and I'm also giving this the dip.
Fuck. Well, that's already 2. But you got to think. I'm not going to recommend it, but I'm not going to give it the dip. I'll say why.
Okay.
Man, I got to come up with why. I don't know why.
That means you
know.
give
I'm
it.
struggling
That
to come up
means
with a
give it
good
the
reason.
dip, man. Like
No, because I really do like the pump. I don't know if it's enough to save it from the dip.
Pump.
I mean,
But it really is just a ripoff of everything else that's out there. That's the thing that's killing me. Go ahead.
I will say the only reason not to give this the dip. I don't know why I'm giving you information on this to justify your claim, but
No, change my mind. I like it. I don't know what my mind is yet, but change
this
it.
brought us a 2-part episode of 13. There are 2 episodes that are in here that deal with a cartoon drug, and we know that you love cartoon drugs.
Dude. Oh, if we give it the dip, no more Zoot.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I don't recommend it, but it doesn't get the dip. I'm sorry. Lord Pumpkin reigns.
Mm-hmm.
The pump lives on.
All right.
It does not get the Zoot. However, it falls to you. You need to come back to your decision whether or not to give it the dip.
I think I'm gonna go with your argument here.
The
It's
Zook lives.
just I can't. As much as I hate Prime and Hardcase and Prototype and Topaz,
As much as I hate the heroes,
as much as I hate them, I cannot fault the show for creating something as weird and almost brilliant as Lord Pumpkin, because I really do like. I would say that he's better than every other villain on the X-Men animated series.
Wow.
I'd fight you on that one, but I really do like the pump.
I'd put him over Magneto or Apocalypse.
Really? Jesus, man.
He's just so weird. You gotta give it to him.
I will say this: I like the pump better than any other character on this show.
Yes, that's true.
That's easily
Yeah.
said. And the weird thing that his like weird gangster son has corncob guns. That's fun.
Pistol.
Got to keep it around. His name's Pistol.
The Corncob Kid.
Zook saved it. I'm telling you, Zook saved it.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you
So-
picked that episode.
It does not get the dip. I had to. It was Lord Pumpkin's
Yep.
pie. God damn it. I'm going to regret this, kids. I'm going to live to regret this. All right. So, Ultraforce narrowly averts being erased from existence and joining the likes of, what? Ace Ventura animated series, and what was the other
Oh, you
one?
guys didn't dip Ace Ventura, the
We did.
animated?
Emergency
did
plus
dip it.
Oh, you did
emergency
dip it.
plus
Oh,
4.
okay.
An Emergency +4. Not great company to be in.
Ooh, jeez.
Any final thoughts, Sean?
Nah, I'm good, man.
You good? Evan, once again, thank you so much for joining us for a
Thank you.
terrible cartoon.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having
man.
me.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. We are
Any final
we are
thoughts?
again
And if
so
not,
sorry.
yeah,
We are again
Yeah, we're-
so
I know.
sorry.
Oh God.
we'll let
Just-
you pick the
I'm
next
gonna
one.
get PTSD. The only thing that's gonna
know.
kick the habit is more Zook.
And some liquid flesh.
Some liquid flesh. Final thoughts. Honestly, just like if I don't know if anybody's compiled a best of Lord Pumpkin. Maybe I'll
They
do.
haven't even reviewed this show
Nobody
itself.
even knows that it exists. I mean, honestly, check out episode 4 and just like watch whatever Lord Pumpkin's on, because he's just so stupid and ridiculous that it's like one of those things where it's an entertaining train wreck kind of thing.
I'll
And
give you that.
that's why I couldn't essentially erase it from existence,
Fair enough.
because it wasn't boring. Because if
True.
it had just been Adelon as the villain and all those heroes, I think it would have been pretty bad. But
Yeah, for the other 11 episodes, probably.
yeah, it's probably.
It's a good thing we did watch these.
Yeah.
So again, thanks again.
Thank you.
What do you have coming up in the next couple of weeks if listeners out there are so inclined to check you out?
So I will be finishing my recaps of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for Collider.com. I am currently writing for them. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. may or may not return for a 5th season. I guess I could just transition over to the terrible looking Inhumans.
Looks bad.
That looks super bad. But feel free to read any of my past articles for that. I'll probably be recapping, I don't know, like Preacher over the summer or something. Or,
Sorry.
So yeah, I know, man, this really, I gotta get better
I'll talk to Allison.
But yeah, feel free to read my stuff on Collider.com. I also dabbled in a past life in stand-up comedy. Feel free to download my album Evan Valentine on Amazon, iTunes, CD Baby. You can get it on Xbox Music for some reason.
Nice.
So every time you listen to it, I get a shiny new hate penny.
Ooh, how about that?
So 100 times, and I get an actual penny.
I'll just put it on loop.
Oh yeah, just put it on loop
I'm
throughout
just
the
gonna
night. That's fine.
I'm gonna let the media station just play it for eternity.
Cool.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, feel free to check those out, and yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Mhm.
Excellent. And we will have all that information up on our website, as well as where you can find Sean. Pal, what are you up to?
So guys, as always, I do live improv comedy in Washington, D.C. With a group that's called Nox. That's NOX exclamation point. We perform for Washington Improv Theater. You can go to witdc.org for tickets and times. And I'm always on Instagram and Twitter at Sean Paul Ellis.
And where are you on Twitter again?
Oh, EV Comedy on Twitter, and I don't have Instagram.
Smart man.
Yeah.
You can also find me on Twitter at Dr. Claw MD. You can also find me on Collider.com, Nerdist.com, and DaveDrumbore.com. If you're interested in finding out more about this particular show right here, cut my fingers off, but that's fine. Head on over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Saturday Morning Cartoons. Remember, that's morning with a U, like Ultraforce. You can also check out our website, SaturdayMorningCartoons.com. Find us on Twitter at MorningTunes. Take a look at Sean's handiwork on our Instagram page. Keep the conversation going on Facebook. And listen to our free audio podcast and possibly video podcast each and every week through YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. If you have a suggestion or just want to commiserate with us over this terrible show called Ultraforce, send us an email, SaturdayMorningCartoons@gmail.com. That's going to wrap it up for this episode, which almost got dipped. But we've got one more installment in Marvel May before we wrap it up for the month. It should be a good one. I don't know if I'm being ironic when I say that. Well, I guess we'll find out. We got one left. You want to tease anything out there, Sean?
Yeah, I'll tease one thing. Everybody gets one.
Nice. We're going to leave it at that. Thanks again to Evan for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to Sean and Evan and myself for watching this terrible cartoon and saving you the trouble. And thank you guys for listening to Saturday Morning Cartoons. We will see you next time. Thanks.
Hey, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening to Saturday Morning Cartoons. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to transform and roll out.